welcome back to InsideFlix. We're going to be doing our weekly box office report. Rich, tell us which films made the top 5 this past weekend.
The number one film in America is once again the Super Mario Brothers movie with $92.3 million. Coming number 2 is The Pope's Exorcist with a little over $9 million. Coming number 3 is John Wick Chapter 4 with $8 million. Coming in number 4 is Renfield with another $8 million, but just a slightly lower. And round at the top 5 is Air with $7.8 million.
Yeah, so Super Mario Brothers is a phenomenon. I mean, such a huge hit.
Much bigger than we ever thought. I mean,
we thought it was going to be huge, but this is just a next level.
Well, I mean, I always thought it was going to make over $1 billion, but I guess it's on its way to making like at least 1.5, maybe 2 billion, and I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting that for the sequel.
Yeah, but also at this rapid pace where this is only the second week.
And if you look at the daily total past week, they're all double digits. I mean, high double digits. Yeah, it is a phenomenon.
And then, the drop wasn't that bad this second week.
No.
And so what does this say about Nintendo as a brand for movies?
They do have a lot of product to start their own studio if they wished. But yeah, they're going to obviously start developing new features for Illumination. Hell, they might even buy Illumination.
Well, I hope not. I was about to bring that up because over at Universal, their Mario World or Nintendo World, I'm not sure what they call it. Mm-hmm. It does seem to like be mostly focused on the Mario franchise, and I really kind of hope that it kind of stays that way, and they kind of just let Illumination do kind of Mario and Donkey Kong movies, because I would like to see some of these other Nintendo properties maybe done not at Illumination.
Would you want to see a Zelda movie?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in that, but I don't think Illumination's the right studio to handle it.
I see what you mean, because Illumination as an animated studio really relies on physical comedy more than anything else. They're kind of known for their, I guess you could say, lowbrow comedy. What Raymond's trying to say is like some of these properties that Nintendo has could be turned out to be not just box office successes, but also very good films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because look what Netflix and its creators did with that the show you guys like, the video game show you guys like,
Arcane.
Arcane.
Yeah, you could do that with Zelda or like Metroid. There's like a loose idea there that you could just build off.
Yeah. Arcane is definitely one of the animation film that would truly do good in theaters. I think in that kind of style.
Let's go back to what I think is probably the biggest disappointment this past weekend. Is Renfield. We all thought that this was going to...
Mama.
Yes. But Renfield, I think we all kind of thought that this was going to come in at number 2. It comes in at number 4. It comes on pretty... I mean, this is a bona fide flop. And
sadly.
And what's your feelings?
It does suck. It does. I mean,
you think the problem was the marketing, that they relied too much on the comedy when they
What I don't understand is, why is Universal going up against themselves? Do they really think that they
that is a good point.
Yeah, I mean, do they really think that they thought it would do good? I mean, when you
counter programming with Super Mario Brothers?
Right. Definitely disappointing. I mean, with Renfield's kind of interesting, right? Because just like a week ago, the movie was getting really good reviews, and it had like a kind of positive outlook. And then the movie came out in theaters, and the Rotten Tomatoes score dropped. It's now getting negative reviews, and it ended up flopping. And Pope's Exorcist, which was a movie no one was expecting to be a hit, ended up coming in at number 2, and really kind of since it had such a low budget, it ended up just kind of dominating.
And both films had the similar cinema score, B minus, and audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes were both over the 80s. So,
well, when I look at these numbers, I get a really sad feeling for Nicolas Cage, even though that he's not the star of Renfield. It's more Nicholas Hoult.
He was the draw.
Yeah. He was the major draw, right? And it really seems like we're seeing a different era or a different stage in the career, I guess both in the careers of Nicolas Cage and Russell Crowe. And this might be one of the last times we'll see Nicolas Cage in a big studio movie like this. And additionally, this might be the beginning of Russell Crowe in his B movie stardom.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Because I think Cage at this point and say Russell Crowe. I mean, they're legends. I mean,
They are
and
legends.
they're always going to be cast in supporting roles in movies from either prestigious filmmakers that just want to have them for a juicy character role, or they're going to be in movies for like Thor: Love and Thunder or something like that, because people making these movies admire them so much, and I don't think they're ever going to go away. But I also don't think we're ever going to see Russell Crowe again in the Gladiator role.
As far as Russell Crowe goes, I mean, I remember as far back when I first saw him do The Man with the Iron Fist, I knew he was up for anything.
Well, I think after watching Nicolas Cage really having an outstanding performance in Pig, which was a movie that came out a couple years ago, I really thought that he was on his way back. And then the movie Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent came out, and that was hyped up as something like this was like a showcase for his work. And that didn't do well in the box office. And maybe that's going to be better remembered for the fantastic comic performance of Pedro Pascal than say Nicolas Cage. So I thought maybe this was it. Renfield, we're going to get Nicolas Cage. He's doing Dracula. This is it. And man, I just really got a bad feeling when I saw those numbers, because it really seems like he has kind of maybe his reputation of being too weird or too abstract has maybe hurt him a little bit. And I think to a younger demographic, both of these actors, Nicolas Cage and Russell Crowe, they not necessarily have that mythic status that we do because we grew up on their films.
Well, I mean, come on, people are growing up on like Unhinged, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about the rest of the top 10. Rich?
Coming in number 6 is Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves. Number 7 is Suzumi. Number 8 is Mafia Mama. Number 9 is Scream 6. Number 10 is Nefarious.
Okay, let's talk about the new movies coming out this week. Rich, tell us which movies are coming out in wide release.
Opening up wide this weekend is Evil Dead Rise. This is the 5th installment in the Evil Dead horror film franchise, produced by franchise creators Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. However, this one is written and directed by Irish horror filmmaker Lee Cronin, who made the cult horror pick The Hole in the Ground. Also opening is The Covenant. This is Guy Ritchie's new military action thriller that stars Jake Gyllenhaal as an American soldier trying to rescue his loyal Afghani interpreter across miles of grueling terrain. Opening up this weekend is Chevalier. This is a period drama in which Kelvin Harrison Jr. portrays a real-life 18th century French violin-playing prodigy who joined Marie Antoinette's inner circle. Also expanding this weekend will be Beau is Afraid.
So let's talk about Evil Dead Rise. With the surprise number that we got from Pope's Exorcist, I will have to think that Evil Dead Rise is looking good here. I don't think it's going to be number one because obviously I think Super Mario Brothers is going to be number one again for a third week. I think Evil Dead Rise is going to surprise us with its number. What's your feelings?
35.
It's going to do really good. I don't know if it's going to do 35. So I think this one will make 28. No, I think this one is going to come in at about 30 million. I think it's going to just come in a little below what Rich is expecting it at. But regardless, I think it's going to be a big hit, and I think it's going to have long legs, and it's going to stick around in the box office. I think this is going to be I think it's going to perform like Smile.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think horror is the genre that's thriving right now, and if people are willing to go see, Russell Crowe in a scooter, then it's going to be huge. This could be 35 plus.
Yeah, and Pope's Exorcist and Renfield are probably going to have giant drops.
Yeah. It has a great amount of buzz around it since premiering at SXXW. People have been saying that it's actually a lot darker and a lot grimier than a lot of these horror movies, these recent horror movies. I think that's a plus for them. I think audiences want their horror movies to be dark and grimy and dirty and stuff like that. So I think this is going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if that's true. With this opening.
All right, now let's talk about limited release. Rich, tell us what movies are coming out in limited.
Opening up limited is Somewhere in Queens. This is the new dramedy about an Italian-American family in Queens, New York, where a couple of meddlesome parents end up interfering with their teenage son's potential basketball career. It's also the directorial debut of Ray Romano, who co-stars alongside Laurie Metcalf. Also is To Catch a Killer. This is a new crime thriller in which Shailene Woodley plays a young police officer trying to catch an elusive murderer with the help of a veteran FBI agent played by Ben Mendelsohn. Also opening up in limited is Carmen. This is the modern-day retelling of the legendary opera, which stars Scream's Melissa Barrera and actor sons Paul Mescal. This is also the directorial debut of Black Swan ballet choreographer Benjamin Millipede. And finally, opening up in limited is Gringa. This is a bittersweet father-daughter drama that stars Steve Zahn as a deadbeat dad living in Mexico who gets a shot at repairing his relationship with his teenage daughter when she unexpectedly shows up at his doorstep.
Now let's talk about streaming. We got actually a big week for streaming. Rich, tell us what movies people could stream this weekend.
Streaming this weekend on Apple TV Plus is Ghosted. This is Chris Evans and Anna de Armas star in this Dexter Fletcher directed action comedy about an unlucky guy who gets ghosted by the woman of his dreams, who turns out to be a kick-ass secret agent and is then thrust into the dangerous world of espionage. Opening up on Hulu is Quasi. This is the new medieval comedy from the comedy troupe Broken Lizard, who are the creators behind the cult comedies Super Troopers, Beer Fest, and Club Dread. Streaming on Prime Video is Judy Blume Forever. This is the new documentary that chronicles the life and career of renowned children's and young adult author Judy Blume. Streaming on Netflix is A Tourist Guides to Love. This is the new Netflix rom-com that stars Rachel Lee Cook as an American travel executive who is sent to Vietnam and soon finds herself falling in love with both the country and her charismatic tour guide.
And that's about it for this one. Thank you for watching InsideFlix. We'll be back next week, and we'll see how well
Evil Dead Rise.
Yes, and we'll talk about the new movies coming out next week. All right, bye-bye, everyone.